After all these years, it's great to see the likes of Samurai Showdown and King of Fighters joining in the fighting game renaissance. And now developer SNK is riding its recent wave of success, continuing it with Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. With the recent open beta, I got to play a few hours of it before the servers shut down on me. So I'm here to talk about the good and the not so good aspects of the game leading up to its April 24th release. Hi, my name is Jay, and welcome to Good Games Dude. There's no doubting the strong legacy of Fatal Fury as one of the classic 2D arcade fighting games, but I've always felt that it sort of played second fiddle to the more popular King of Fighters. King of Fighters has been SNK's staple fighting game franchise, but in 2025 there's definitely room for both, especially as Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves takes a lot of cues from its other big competitor, Street Fighter 6.
Let's rock!
My very first impression when I booted up this game was that this has a lot of rich and varied mechanics that'll take a while for players to really get a hang of. That's a good thing because the last thing you want is to have it to be so easy to figure out that by the 20th or 30th hour, you feel like you've already learned and found everything you need to know. With lots of defensive options, oppressive offensive moves, and a combo system open for a lot of experimentation, City of the Wolves' gameplay is fast, frenetic, and satisfying to play. With all of the features and little things outside of the gameplay that do raise a few flags for concern. Let's start off by talking about what I think has always been SNK's strong suit, its characters. Even in its beta format, City of the Wolves' characters already feel strong, refined, and varied, which led to many interesting matchups. Of course, there are the classic characters like Terry, Mai, and Rock Howard, but what's great about these legacy characters, and really all of the characters in this game, is that they all feel like they have more moves than ever before. Each one has expansive move lists, with characters like Mai getting one or two new ones never seen before, that'll take many hours of training in order to fully master. But all of the new characters as well feel extremely fun and have a lot of unique pros and cons about them that it will be interesting to see what other players do and which players will gravitate to whom. Just to run down a few of the characters I got to check out, the one that really stood out to me was Kain. I normally don't go for cheap zoner keep-out characters, but I couldn't help myself because with so many players still learning and figuring out how to play the game, Kain's playstyle is just extremely oppressive, with projectiles and fireballs that control the screen and make it hard to get in close. If I did play against you last night, I'm so sorry because even I felt bad for my opponents that had to get through the onslaught of projectiles.
Humble before my ambition!
Mai and Terry were two other characters I was looking forward to as I played them both in King of Fighters. And Terry felt especially fun with the plethora of special moves that are given to him and with how the game's combo system works, chaining together EX moves into other EX moves. But Mai felt a little bit on the weaker side as her buttons felt a little bit slow. But the other character that really surprised me as well was Preacha, a kickboxer reminiscent of another Fatal Fury fighter, Joe Higashi. Preacha has a very offensive pressure playstyle that can be tough to deal with on defense. And she has this crescent special kick that can even go over and cross up opponents. That's not to say that there wasn't any particular character that I felt was way overpowered or stronger than any other, as they all felt equally balanced, and I could see where they could fall short. Moving on to the gameplay mechanics, and this again is where City of the Wolves really gets its combat depth. On the offensive side, perhaps the most important aspect to consider is what the game calls SPG. This is a specific bar of health that you, the player, decide where to allocate. And when your health is in the SPG region, you gain access to new sets of moves that are extremely powerful. For those familiar with Street Fighter 6, you essentially gain access to the game's version of the Drive Impacts. This move has an unlimited amount of armor, completely nullifies any damage received, and can lead to a full combo. As the opponent, your goal is to quickly get the character out of the SPG range immediately. And on the defensive side, the Just Defend technique is easily the most important mechanic players will want to take advantage of. Serving almost as a Street Fighter III third strike parry, Just Defend negates any chip damage and allows players to immediately steal their turn back with quick special moves or supers. But the big difference between this and a Street Fighter III parry is that this is performed by holding back on the controller rather than holding forward. Since this is the same movement required to block, only done at a specific timing window, I found myself doing this more on accident rather than intentionally. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, as it led to surprise moments of me winning games, but only if I was completely focused in the moments. But it's all the other small things outside of combat that need to get fixed. Granted, this is just a preview build and some of these issues might have already been ironed out, but one of the first major problems I noticed was just how out of date the game's matchmaking system is. One of the best features modern fighting games have implemented is the ability to train and practice combos on a dummy while the game searches and matches you with other players. At the moment, City of the Wolves doesn't have that feature, which means players just have to look at a loading icon while waiting for games. But these are long wait times. I'm not joking when I say I would hit matchmake, then go aside and clean my dishes while I wait to get an opponent. And when you do get matched with another player, the game takes even more time to load in and get the match started, again creating even more downtime. Not to mention that sometimes the game will even pause and load between rounds. That's when you know the online netcode has problems. There are a host of other technical problems that I hope will get adjusted in the future, input delay being one of them. This issue is most noticeable on the main menu screen, where button press would take about a quarter of a second to register before anything happens. But even mid-match, it could still be felt. Not nearly as bad on the main menu screen, but probably somewhere around 3 frames. Most fighting games nowadays, like Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, have had good enough netcodes to where I can matchmake with players far from my region and still have decent games. They may not be perfect, but even in games where matches would exceed 100 ms, they still felt smooth with only a few hitches here and there. City of the Wolves has insane moments of rollback, where hits would register, life bars would drain, or a sound effect would play indicating that my hit will land, only for the game to readjust and correct itself saying that my hit didn't land. Again, the game is still in beta, but it's my absolute hope that SNK can address these issues, because beneath that, there's a deep fighting game to be enjoyed. If you're a fan of the recent trend of fast-paced 2D fighting games, you'll enjoy Fatal Fury City of the Wolves and all it has to offer. The characters all look gorgeous, have great variety, and have plenty of moves and abilities that all feel effective. It all just depends on if SNK can package it all together and give newcomers and fighting game veterans enough features, content, and polish to ensure fans have a reason to keep coming back. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves releases on April 24th, with an early access period beginning 3 days ahead of time on April 21st. For more on SNK and its illustrious history in the fighting game genre, check out my video on the King of Fighters and why it's a gaming essential. And be sure to subscribe for even more on the best that video games have to offer.